Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 17th day of July, 2023. Well, let's take a look at what we have for today. I started this already once and the screen went weird, so I already have everything sitting here, so which is fine. Usually I just like to pull things and there they are, but I'm just going to keep going here. We start out with the above side of things for the significators here from the Elder Futhark, Sewillow. Sewillow is a fire element rune. It's the rune of the will. It's about self-confidence and healing. It's the higher self. It's illumination. It's the link between spirit and form, which basically makes it an as above, so below rune. It's Kenaz, above and below, forward and reversed. And Kenaz is the torch, or it's the light of spirit. It's clarity, it's healing, it's well-being. But it's from that higher awareness that you get that. It's not, there's no ego involved in any of it. And basically that's what we talk about. If we have to bring these readings down to one concept, is the as above, so below nature of our existence. Are we invoking spirit into our perceptions and into our reactions and our interactions and our responses and all of that? Or are we allowing ego to govern all of it in all its judgmental reactiveness? With higher awareness, you have truth. With the ego, maybe, probably not. But the below side of things is going to be Kata Draconis from the Geomancy runes. Kata represents the south node of the moon, or the tail of the dragon. It's about endings, completion. It's about karma, past experience or past life experience, however you see that. But basically, are we seeing karma come in and explain to us, kind of like last week? Because I think we had Kata Draconis. Yeah, we had it. I think we had it both on both days, didn't we? I didn't write down here on my notes here. I did for Monday, but we had Kata last week. And I think we had Rado both days too. But the idea with it was it was all about learning not to be deceptive in our dealings with others last week. And both readings, Monday and Thursday, seem to dovetail together about that, and understanding the greater, message behind what happens, when you're deceptive with others, when you try to manipulate them. And so I think with Kata Draconis, how I interpreted that is karma. What did you do either in this life, in the past, to create karma that now you need to deal with? Or was it past life, in another type of experience? What are you bringing in from another awareness that then teaches you about working off that karma at this time, working through it, moving past it, so that you can engage in another way? And in last week, it had to just deal with being deceptive or manipulative with other people, and how that impacts things, how they see it. I think that we had I think on Thursday we had the Three of Swords, and so that's betrayal. But is it, or in that case, was it more about how other people saw what you were doing? Instead of the two behind being the betrayers, maybe it's the sword in front, which represents the querent, or the person you're doing the reading for, and understanding how that can impact other people if you're the one being deceptive. So let's just kind of leave Kata Draconis in kind of a neutral state here. Either something's coming to an end, or we're still dealing with a little bit of karma that we need to have. We need to invoke higher awareness to then understand. I mean, heck, it could still be connected to last week's readings for all I know here. But let's take a look at the cards. Let me do some math here and figure out what the overall numerology is. We have 5 and 8, which is 13, which is 4. That reduces to 4. Plus we have 19, which is 1 for the sun. So that's going to be 5. So we're looking at change. With the 5, we're looking at protection, variety, innovation, things like that. But generally speaking, with 5, something's going to change. And so maybe this is a situation where you're better able this week to invoke higher awareness into everything you do. But I don't know. Let's take a look at this card. We have the 5 of Pentacles. Here we see 2 people destitute. Something's happened. Something's changed for them with the 5 there. We see the 5 pentacles up here in the center of a stained glass window. So it suggests that there's a church there, maybe, or someplace where they can find comfort and solace in the snow, because there's snow coming down. You see this one's on crutches. His foot is bandaged. It looks like he has maybe some kind of a boot on. It's a different color. And so I don't know. It could be another type of a bandage, but maybe he doesn't have any shoes at all. This one here, the taller person, doesn't look like it. It looks like that person's feet are bandaged, but this one doesn't, just is wearing a tunic with the crutches. And his head is also bandaged. You can see that right up there. It's kind of hard to see with all the snow in the background. This one here is, of course, wearing a cloak with a hood, or is probably a blanket of some kind. And they're continuing on, despite their circumstances, but something has changed in their lives. And again, with Sawillo, how are we going to view that? Are we, again, can we see the bigger purpose behind it, or are they pretty caught up? I always usually read this as they're pretty caught up in the moment. The only thing is they are moving, and they're moving forward. And maybe they're heading toward the doorway that we don't see to this place. But again, sometimes I read this also as they're continuing to walk on, and they don't realize that help is on the other side of that wall. Or maybe it's not open to them. We don't know that, though. So we can't really make that judgment. And I don't see any other cards. Well, I mean, the 8 of Swords might have something to do with that. Here we have the 8 of Swords. We see a woman who's bound and blindfolded, wearing a red dress, reddish orange. She's out on the water there in the soppy sand. You can see water amidst the sand. So maybe the tide is coming in or something. You see the castle up here on the cliffs. There's no dual line of demarcation here. So it's just actually one whole scene, although she is separate from the home, given the swords that are around her. Yeah, again, you can look at this card in a couple of different ways. She's either turning her back and blindfolding herself and resisting all of the influence around her. Swords is the air element, so it can be interaction. It's the mental processes. It's justice. It could be judgment. It could be deception, truth, interactions, communication. I tend to look at it as perception here. I think she could be bound by her own perceptions, or there could be the noise coming in from other people, and she has to turn all of that off and go within to figure out what she really wants to do here and the decision she needs to make about something. Swords the air element can also be about decisions, but doing it in a rational way. And maybe if these are her own perceptions that are clouding her judgment, maybe she's just had to turn her back to all of that. Maybe she's gotten involved with people or something where she's sort of adopted some new thinking, and because that can happen. You get with another group of people, and suddenly you start hearing what they have to say, and maybe you think, oh, that makes sense. Well, maybe in the end it didn't. And maybe in the end it caused the change to happen. And so right now we know that a change has happened, and she's had to go within to figure it out. and to turn off the noise around her, either from her own mind, her own perceptions, her own thoughts, or from the interactions from other people and the things other people have to say. But it's a serious situation. And so is this one, though. So you have to be able to see what's going on here in full clarity. And maybe you need to turn your back even on your own perceptions to do that. Maybe this was caused by something that you thought, and now you're a bit bereft and you're destitute, and you what you thought you have, you no longer have. And maybe there was a sense of security. With Pentacles, there is a sense of security. And so maybe the security that you had, you no longer have. And in order to get past that, you've got to put an end to that. You've got to put an end to the choices that you made. You have to put an end to the perceptions that you have, and you have to move on in full clarity. So that would take care of then Kata Draconis with putting an end to something, and working through the effect of your actions. Maybe that would be the karma side of it. And then with Sawillo, using that will that you have to go within, to turn your back to everything, to the whole situation, whatever that is for you, and come to some kind of decision without the influence of your own perceptions or the chatter of other people. And when you do that, this is kind of cool, having Sawillo and the sun, given that the Sawillo is the rune of the sun, basically. Now you have some success. Now you come out of it with new perceptions, with new higher awareness governing everything. You see the sunflowers reaching for the sun above that stone wall. You see a red flag there suggesting victory. And you see a child on the back of a white horse. Now, when you see the nude child, you see the nude child as new beginnings, as the baby that's born. So in this case, new awareness is born of the higher self, essentially. You see the sun radiating down on everything, making everything grow and be vital again, instead of, some change, massive change happening. And now you got to rethink things. And in order to do that, Sawillo, you use the energy of Sawillo to do that, the rune of the will, the rune of the higher self, understanding cause and effect. It's kind of similar to the rune Perthro in that regard, where you are learning about who controls your fate there. What is the effect of cause and effect? Are you going to continue down that same path, or are you going to consider something else? And with Kata Draconis, perhaps these two experiences have you working through all of that and putting an end to whatever took you in that direction to begin with. Because obviously there was a choice that was made, and now maybe external circumstances have caused a different thing to happen. But here, this is serious, because it literally explores the idea of a change in circumstances. But if it was, say you had a group of friends that you were hanging out with, and maybe you just got to the point where it's like, yeah, something doesn't feel right here. I got to go my own way. I got to think about this a little bit more. But it can leave you quite alone, especially if they were your place of comfort, if they were your support system. If you decide, you know what, this is harming me. This is not in my best interest to be with these people. Maybe you leave them and now you're alone and you don't know who to turn to. So realistically, when you get to that point, you have to go within. Turn off the noise inside and outside, and come to a different decision about things. Come to a new awareness, and when you do, you wake up. Ooh, there's that woke thing. Well, think about what the opposite of being woke is, being awake is. When you can see what's going on versus, you close your eyes to it. I could use a crude expression, but I won't. I'm sure you can think of it yourself. But, involving where you place your head. But the bottom line is, if you can figure out what you need to really know about something and what the real truth is about it, then you can awaken to a new day. And that's really what the sun's about. The sun comes back, the sun returns, it's a new day. Everything is new. Everything, you can start all over again and pursue something better for yourself. And I think with the, if you look at the other idea behind the 5 of being innovation, that could be something where, again, you're going to have to come up with something else. And once you go within and you realize what you really want, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, to do that. Again, you can get caught up in a certain circumstance that falls apart, and maybe you're the one that made it fall apart because you walked away from something that wasn't really as positive for you as you thought. Perhaps you had a support system, you thought you did, but when times got tough, you discovered you didn't. And you needed to go talk to some friends, and they really didn't want to hear you because they're too busy with their own stuff, but you're there for them. So you see that imbalance. And so you realize this isn't working for me. And again, that's just an example of what this could be. It just depends on how this resonates for you, what's going on in your life. But you may feel somewhat alone and not really, you're pressing on, but it's hard. And maybe you don't realize that there is other support systems there for you. Maybe you could turn to family, or you have a friend you haven't talked to in a long time because you got caught up with these other people. So it's suggesting that there could be someone there for you, that if you need to talk to somebody about something. It's just that the situation you're leaving doesn't seem like that's the support system you need anymore. So you move on, irrespective of the challenges with the 5. You go within with the 8, and you make the decision you need to make and evaluate, well, what happened here? What do I need to gain from all this? What do I need to learn from all of this? What do I need to let go of? With Kata Draconis, it could be letting things go. What do I need to let go of? Perceptions that no longer serve, people that no longer serve. What is it that I really need to let go of and move on in full clarity with Sawillo, so that then I have a new day, and with all the possibility of that. 19 again reduces to 1. 1 and 9 is 10. 10 reduces to 1, and 1 is about new beginnings. And I think that you see that progression here from the 5 to the 8 to the 19. I think that, and with the sun being a major arcana card, this is a soul archetype card. So I think it, and of course it aligns perfectly, of course, with Sawillo. And but understanding that if you allow spirit, if you allow the soul within to perceive what's going on, you're less likely to be judgmental. You're less likely to associate with people that maybe aren't gonna, maybe a little more superficial than what you need. I mean, they're probably not bad people. They're just really not what you need right now, and maybe they're just more superficial than what you need. And when you realize that, you have to walk away and think about it for a while. And once you do, you can see the truth of it. And then from that point on, everything, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new life, it's a brand new experience. You have all this possibility that's there, that the doors are opening. It's like the rune de Gaz. It's the end of one period and the beginning of another. With Kata Draconis, it would definitely suggest that now we've let one period come to an end in our lives. Now the door is open for something new. The opposite of Kata Draconis is Caput. That's the north node of the moon, and that's about new beginnings. And so you're always in that seesaw effect of bringing something to a close so that something new can begin. And if you get away from an influence that's not necessarily healthy for you, maybe, or productive, or you just don't feel quite right in it, or what have you, then once you give yourself some time to really look at that, you can then make the right decision for yourself and move on into something new. So let's just call that we'll call that, bring an end to that here. I think we've done it all. I don't think we need any more cards. I don't know. I'll take one more to maybe begin us and see if we can get a little bit more information about what happened in the 5. I don't know that I'm going to get it, though. We'll just see what we come up with. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whenever I take an extra card, I take the 13th one. Either this is going to be modifying the sun, or it could be that something happened in the family and things weren't as sunny as we thought. But I don't think so. I think this is giving us more information and reinforcing the one numerology of the sun. Although we could look at it that way. We could look at it as the first. So we'd have ones on both sides. But if we did, then I think that something happened with the family structure, maybe. And we had, you know, some happiness there, and then something happened to change everything. But it doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel right to me. I think that it's probably more that once you let the new day begin, some happiness can happen. And things can come together for you with the 10 of Cups. So I think it just reinforces, it's just another one numerology. That your new beginning ended up being some happiness at home and in your home life, your personal life. We'll just say it that way. Because here you have mom and dad and the kids are dancing and the home's in the distance and it's almost like, you know, the success at the end of the rainbow, you know, the gold, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow was the nice, comfortable home to live in, and the family and all of that is happy and healthy and safe and secure. But if you don't want to look at it in terms of family, it could just be your own happiness and safety and security. So, cool. But I'm not going to include this in the write-up. I'll just leave it out. I think we don't need it. That's just for the benefit of the video, I think, and for this part of the reading. So anyway, I do write these up. I wasn't putting them on the blog over at Stepping Aside. I was putting the write-up on Substack and on Medium and on Patreon, but not at the blog. But then, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I started doing that too. And plus the video goes up there on the blog. The web address for Stepping Aside is imsteppingaside.com. So if you want to check that out, if you forget, just click on the more below the video. Says more. Click on that. It opens up a window and it'll show some stuff, including the website address. If you forget, or you can Google Stepping Aside, it usually comes up. Anyway. But I guess that's it. Yeah, I just think that this is seeing things in full clarity can really make the difference. And it seems like there's something going on here today where you need to be able to do that, whatever it is. And go within, turn off the noise of your own thoughts, turn off the noise of everybody else's chatter and their perceptions. Just let go of all of that and just think about what it is you really want and what you need to be happy and healthy and safe and secure. And see if you can't come up with something a little bit better than what you're experiencing. And again, in full clarity. You know, the Sawillo is about clarity, and use the inner will, the higher will, to make that happen. So I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. And come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.